Hello and welcome back to Tech Talk with Katie. We are back with Jaswinder and Quinn today on the use cases of blockchain. The last episode we spoke about blockchain in its most simplest form. Now we talk about the practical usability and also talk about Harmonic Guild. So let's get on with it. Let's talk to Quinn and Jaswinder. Welcome back, Quinn and Jaswinder, to Tech Talk with Katie, episode 13. We spoke about blockchain in the last episode. We really got into the basics of it. We wanted to talk about the application, and we'll also talk about the Harmonic Guild later in the episode. But I really wanted to start with one of the biggest applications of blockchain in today's date. So who goes?
I can take this. So you might have heard this phrase again and again, which is internet's own money, right? I mean, if you think fundamentally, although we have digital payments today, where you can transact your central bank's currency, if you think of it, that money is not actually embedded in the internet more natively, right? The money is still with the banks, and banks sort of change that money, and your app on the internet is sort of making API calls to bank services and central bank services, etc. But they're two very different systems. One of the major use cases of a blockchain network could be this currency itself. Because at the end of the day, a money that a country has is sort of an agreed store of value, right? Everybody agrees that this piece of paper has value. Otherwise, it doesn't have a piece of value.
Correct.
Similarly, a network could also be thought of a country where people say this network's currency is money, and we will take that money to give you services, to give you products, etc., whatever. Now, when I talk about internet's own money, because this money is natively part of this network, right? It is recorded in the blockchain itself. It is not associated with another system, another central bank, etc. This becomes very efficient for the internet and the application. Imagine when you're trying to transact something on the internet, you are not now making calls to an external system. You are staying in this system, and this system has its own money. This system makes its own transaction. It has its own ledger to maintain who has what, right? You have 10 tokens, I have 20 tokens, he has 30 tokens. When you buy an online movie ticket, similarly the maths happen, your 10 tokens come to me because I'm selling you a movie ticket. All of it is maintained on this internet ledger only. There is no third-party systems here. So it makes the internet much more efficient in terms of money, right? Because at the end of the day, nothing happens unless money exchanges hands in the real world, right? The whole product, services, supply and demand, all of that happens because money moves and money changes hands. Now, on the internet, if something happens, but the money changes hands on a different system, it's very inefficient. So blockchain just makes it much more efficient, much more faster, and also bring mathematics to verify, to check if the transactions really happened or not. So it is secure, it is faster, it is efficient. So all of these things.
Did you just explain crypto?
Yes, I just did. Not a financial advice, but yes, I did.
Oh, wow. I hadn't heard a simpler definition of crypto because I have never been able to understand crypto. Thanks for explaining
Thank
that. So another question that I have when it comes to crypto, so since you've already touched upon it, we talk about Bitcoin a lot. Then there's Ethereum that has come in. What's the difference between the both of them? Is that my understanding based on the past two? I'm also learning on these episodes, and that's the brownie that I get. Is Bitcoin is a separate blockchain network altogether.
Yeah.
Ethereum is a separate blockchain network altogether,
Yes.
right? Is that understanding correct?
Exactly. These are two different networks, completely two different protocols. When Bitcoin was launched and people saw money as a use case on blockchain, so Bitcoin has its own language. You can define your rules, but the language gives you very restricted set of rules that you can create. right? People behind Ethereum thought this is such a revolutionary technology. People should have the liberty to make more rules, to make more complex logic, right? So the idea behind Bitcoin is that it can just be used as a money, as a currency, right? On Ethereum, you can write custom contracts to make that money do other things as well. You can say, this is a piece of art, or this is a subscription contract, or this is an escrow contract. You can write much more custom logic on Ethereum blockchain than Bitcoin.
That brings me to my next question. So we discussed in the last episode that we'll be discussing NFT. Now, is Ethereum tied to NFT, or NFT is a different concept altogether?
So NFT is one of the things you can make a contract of on Ethereum.
Oh.
Right? You cannot write a custom contract on Bitcoin. You can write a custom contract on Ethereum. So NFT is just another custom contract that you can write and deploy on Ethereum.
So we'll come to what is NFT, but tell me, can I buy an NFT using Bitcoin, or?
You would need some sort of bridge between these two. There are these days some NFTs on Bitcoin as well natively, but they are complex, and it's sort of an understanding that, okay, we'll just call this thing an NFT too, etc., etc. Otherwise, let's say if you want to buy an NFT which is on Ethereum network, but you want to buy it with Bitcoin, you'll have to do with some sort of provider in the middle which will give you those services.
Yeah, I mean, those providers are available because I've seen people selling NFT quoting dollars or rupees also.
Sure.
So essentially, when we pay them in dollars or rupees, they will actually go ahead and convert it,
yes,
and then get it using the Ethereum. So completely got the logic.
Yes.
Thanks for that. Things are more clearer in my head, and I hope things are more clearer in the audience's head as well now when it comes to Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency that is there. Now, I just want to venture into the next topic over here, which is NFT, the non-fungible tokens that we talk about. What exactly is NFT? And it's very closely tied to it is on blockchain. So how does it work? And then we get into I want you to get into the Harmonic Guild part of it, because they both go hand in hand.
Sure. So a cryptocurrency is an example of a fungible token, and an NFT is a non-fungible token, meaning that your Bitcoin is just the same as my Bitcoin, and they're also divisible. An NFT is not divisible. Each NFT is fundamentally unique. So it is tied to a particular either piece of data or a real-world asset. It's tied to something, and it is unique in that way. And so the ledger of the cryptocurrency network is used to determine who owns that particular unique NFT. And so I can still transfer it to you or to anyone else, but it maintains its properties.
Okay. And how do you translate into music?
Right. So what NFTs are capable of being very complex forms of data, and they can indicate who owns data. And so that allows, and these cryptocurrencies allow you to fundamentally own something on the internet in a way that's never really been possible before. And so in music, you can prove that I own this album, right? One of the fundamental dreams of these cryptocurrency, this sort of cryptocurrency revolution, is the ability to take your music with you from platform to platform to platform to platform, because it will be owned. You know that you own that piece of material, and so when you're on this website, you can play that song. When you're on another website, you can play that song. Say you're playing a video game, you can play that song as well. It could be connected to your car. It could be on your audio, because it's all these cryptocurrency networks are open. And so in their openness, anyone can connect to them. And that kind of removes the silos that we have currently on the internet for the ownership and access to audio and video.
So that brings me, so thanks for that, Quinn. That brings me to the next question, which is around your startup, right? So you both have founded Harmonic Guild. Can you talk about what Harmonic Guild is all about, and what really inspired you to create this, this wonderful startup that you have? So let's talk about that.
Sure. Harmonic Guild is a music distribution and promotion. We're trying to build a protocol. It is a company that does the promotion and distribution of music on the internet. Our sort of North Star and guiding light is to get musicians paid better. Right now, the traditional streaming services do not pay a living wage to artists. And so we are trying to change that economics using these new technologies.
So you said living wage. So are the artists paid very, very less? I mean, I keep listening to music on all these apps that are available, the distribution apps, and I always listen to them. I mean, earlier I used to buy the cassettes or the CDs, or I used to go and buy it on let's say an iTunes, right? But everything has now gone onto the subscription model.
Yeah.
So you think that is something which is taking over and reducing the royalties that the artists get, and that is something that you're trying to solve?
Yes, and they are, right? Artists are getting a third of a cent per stream.
They're getting
a third
what?
of $1 cent per stream. So that is not enough. There also is a new phenomenon in streaming where if you're below a certain threshold, you get zero. Even the biggest artists in the world are not making the lion's share of the revenue from streaming. And professional musicians, both touring musicians and also, music industry adjacent people like songwriters and session musicians, saw their wages absolutely collapse, initially from music piracy, but then also through, it didn't rebound to where it was with the advent of music streaming.
Oh, that's strange. And
yeah. Josh, do you want to talk about how social media also factors into this equation?
Yeah, one of the things we see today with musicians not being able to make on so many of these new platforms is because you have to be super viral to get attention, right? And all these platforms are built in a way that they want to promote viral content, right? Because they want to sell advertisements, because advertisements is how they make most of your money. So even if you're a decent or a good musician, there is so much social media algorithmic corruption that no viewers would be able to reach out to you, because that's not how these platform works. They will always prioritize more viral content, which doesn't necessarily have to be good content in that category. You do not have to be a good musician to become viral in the music category in the current social media, because the algorithmic protocols favor viral content. Now,
and that's a chicken and egg story as well, right? Because these are the platforms which make you viral, and it's completely in their control whether to make you viral or not, right?
Yes.
If I do not see a content, it is not going to. I mean, if it is not presented to me in my browsing history, I will not be able to. I mean, it is not going to become viral. Yeah. So yeah, it's a kind of a chicken and an egg story out here.
It is, and it's a huge amount of labor, unpaid labor for artists, right? They receive virtually no compensation for this content. Content is just a word for art that makes somebody else rich and not you. It's a huge amount of labor, right?
I like that point, right? I really like that point, yeah.
Music marketing agencies can recommend that you post 45 times per platform per week, right? And they also indicate that less than 10% of the people who follow you will see your media. the incentive systems around social networks, and which is the way, both social and streaming networks are the way that almost all audio and video art is consumed. The incentives are really deeply broken. And we're trying to use these new technologies to overthrow those economics and build a more transparent and equitable and progressive system and better pay for artists, as it comes to the consumption of music and music video.
So what essentially you're trying to do is you're trying to reach out to the musicians out there and trying to remove that middle layer, which is actually sucking up all the, and I really want to use the word sucking up, all the money that they were supposed to get, and not even giving it up to them, not even like you said living wages, right? And a third of a dollar is really that.
Third of a cent.
Third of a cent, sorry.
Yeah.
It's not even pennies, right?
Yeah, and it makes it so hard to break out because there's no middle class in music. Either you are super duper popular, or you have another full-time job, or you're independently wealthy. There's no middle class because everything is viral. Everything is the hundreds of millions of streams in order to get there, and it's not linear. It's hyperbolic, and
so how do we reach out to you, right? I mean, in a sense, let's say I create music, my friend here creates music, and he wants to launch it on your app. How does he do? Or he reaches out to you, and do you charge him a fees, or you just onboard that person?
So one of the technologies that we have is the distribution of royalties, right? So when somebody consumes content on our platform or through one of our distribution partners, that royalty for that stream is automatically distributed via a smart contract. We also take a royalty on that. So we don't get paid unless you also get paid. You, the artist.
Okay. So you're basically removing the middle layer and allowing the artist to get more for his content that artist is actually creating.
As well as, and people don't think about this very often, but YouTube and Spotify are also the price setter. And they've set it to zero. But an artist in this system will be able to set the price for their music, for a stream or for a buy.
Okay, so artists can decide what is the price per stream.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really democratizing the art of an artist, right? That's unheard of, and that's amazing. That's really very nice. Great. What are you doing to to spread or, as you said, make it viral, to make this message of Harmonic Guild viral to all the singers out there? Because it really has to get viral. You need to have some feet on the ground, reaching out to musicians and getting those things up and running so that they sign up. So what are you doing for that?
So fortunately, musicians, if they're a struggling musician, they try to make themselves pretty easy to find, right? There's this joke when you're watching a musician on stage. They try to make sure their publicist tries to make sure they say their name as many times while they're on stage so that people remember it. We are Harmonic Guild. So yes, come find us, harmonicguild.io. Also, we have agents going out to concerts and things like that.
We are also constantly running email campaigns to reach out to as many musicians as possible and talk to them for customer feedback, etc., surveys and everything. So we are doing that part of the part 2 system as well.
So we have all these companies, right, who are also into music distribution, and we see that Harmonic Guild is trying to create a difference in that. So that is something that we see externally within Harmonic Guild. What is the difference that you're bringing in internally as an organization, right? Because a startup needs there are a lot of things to a startup, right? There's funding, there's VC and all of that. So what's how is Harmonic Guild different as an organization internally when it is being run? Is it being run a little differently than others?
Yeah, it is. In order to change the economics of the distribution of music, you also kind of have to change your own corporate economics, and also our governance, because the people who started these streaming services, they didn't start out. A lot of them started out with similar missions, but the necessitation of having shareholders and being in the tech industry, tech space, kind of has distorted some of what they're trying to do. We're trying to overcome those externalities by making ourselves a democratic company and making our operations on-chain, so that we have the transparency in our decision making and transparency in our economics in a really radical way. That enables us to live out these kind of values of offering the best possible prices for musicians, and being progressive, and being democratic.
You spoke about transparency. How is this transparency translating into the benefit of musicians? So I know you guys are on blockchain, and that's why we are talking about it. So how is this blockchain bringing in the transparency and the trustworthiness with the musicians vis-a-vis the traditional streaming and distribution, music distribution apps that are there?
Yeah, I think the promise of blockchain is, of course, transparency. But traditional internet businesses can be transparent as well. They can open source their code, they can publish data, and they can be transparent as well. The promise of the blockchain is, and as we like to say, there's a famous saying in blockchain world. It says, "Verify, don't trust." Right? What I am trying to say is, everybody can be transparent in this world. Even the traditional companies can be too. The fact that distinguishes a blockchain organization or a company that runs on a blockchain network is that you can also verify that transparency. There are mathematical ways to actually go ahead and verify, and not just you, anybody could go ahead and verify that this transparency is actually true.
So you're trying to say that it can be verified whether this artist for this particular stream got this much money or not.
Yes.
It can be verified.
Yes.
Right?
Because all of these transactional information and algorithms are in a smart contract. So let's say when you buy a song, the money goes to artists. All this data is recorded on the blockchain. And if somebody has to change this data, they'll have to have $1 billion to attack it. And
all that part of consensus,
yes.
Which we spoke about in the last episode, that actually comes into the picture. And guys, if you haven't watched the last episode where we talk about consensus and how difficult it is to attack a blockchain system, I would urge you to go and check that particular episode. The link is available in the description. So Jaswinder, coming back on the verification. So let's say I have seen many instances, particularly with people who I know. They've been just gone ahead and blocked, by some random complaint somebody would have done for no fault of theirs. They just go ahead and block that particular person. Now, is that a possibility out here? Can somebody go ahead and just the company just blocked that person and he could not upload his music further? Is that also very transparent over here, or how does that work?
So this actually, like denial of access, it's sort of a layered problem here. Okay, let's think of it as in 3 layers. There is the network protocol level blocking, which is very difficult to do, because then all the nodes in the network has to update this new code which blocks a particular user, and it is very difficult to do.
Consensus comes into the
Yes.
picture again. Okay.
Second level of blocking is at the app level. Let's say I've written a smart contract to sell you NFTs.
Yeah.
And in that smart contract, I can block saying this public address cannot buy NFTs. Even that is difficult because this smart contract is on chain and the users can object. People would see that this NFT marketplace is not a good actor, etc., etc. So all of that sort of goes public as well. The last and the easiest way I would say to do is do it on the front end level, which is your traditional Web 2 applications which access blockchain. If there is something on that level, there's hardly you can do anything about it. But as far as blockchain is concerned, it is very difficult to deny access to someone. That's why it is such a permissionless and open system, I would say.
So I would like to coin a term for your startup, right? It is as democratic as it can get, right? So it's a democratized musician's paradise, right?
Thank you.
How do you like it?
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, this is amazing, and I got to learn a lot from the both of you. Honestly, my blockchain knowledge was, I always thought I knew about blockchain, but after talking to you, I realized how much I did not know about it. But yes, my knowledge is now enriched, and my confidence has bettered a little bit to invest into crypto.
Not financial
Yeah,
advice.
no financial advice.
I understand that, but yeah, I'm saying I at least my concept was I always used to think I will not invest in a place which I don't understand.
Sure, makes sense.
But now that I understand it a bit,
Yeah.
I try to research more and understand a bit more, and then take a conscious decision. No financial
Sure.
advisory from your side. But it was great having the both of you over here and on Tech Talk with Katie, and I wish you both all the very best for Harmonic Guild, and may you taste success and you achieve the mission that the noble mission that you're out to achieve, which is getting the right price to the artist, getting the deserved price to the artist for their art. A very noble mission, and I wish you all the best for that.
Thank you.
It was great talking
Thank
to you.
you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Jaswinder.
having us.
Thank you, Quinn.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
So that was Quinn and Jaswinder talking about blockchain and how they're utilizing blockchain to democratize the entire music industry. Fascinating thoughts. Don't you subscribe to those? Do like, share, and subscribe to Tech Talk with Katie. We will be back with another guest with another tech topic on Tech Talk with Katie. Till then, thank you and bye-bye.